As teammates Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah prepare to face off in the AFCON final, me and Ruairi are happy to announce we will be fighting to the death on our live stream Sunday night, after the game, of course. Welcome to the Anglo-Italian pod, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tommaso, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host...
Me, Rory, it's me again. How are you, Tommy? How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Shall we unveil the secret? This is a first time in the Anglo-Italian pod history we are recording on a Friday morning. Yeah. So by the time you're hearing our voices, the difference is about 4 hours, I want to say. This is a first in the history of our podcast. How are you feeling? Good morning, bud.
Good morning, mate. If we do sound like we're still waking up, it's because we're still waking up. I've got my green tea, so you might notice my energy levels rising as the record goes along. But it feels good. I woke up this morning, I was like, I get to record now. Like, rather than waking up and being like, I've got to go to a town miles away from Milan to teach. It feels better.
Yeah, it feels good. I don't know. Last night on Thursday, we could not record because the second of the AFCON Semi-Finals was unfolding. So we had to watch that. We just decided, since we both had a free morning, to record on a Friday. We are going, of course, to cover the two semi-finals of the AFCON, to preview the final, and then we're going to quickly jump on our blimp and go to South America, North America, to take a look at the World Cup qualifiers, and finally, Rory is going to preview the FA Cup weekend in England, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about Salernitana's incredible transfer window. Will that be enough for Salernitana not to be relegated? And then, of course, the Milan Derby, which I can't wait for on Saturday night at 6 p.m. But first, I just want to say a little something. My friend Reed from Minneapolis asked me to go on a little rant about the festival of Italian music, also known as Sanremo. Now, Rory, were you familiar with this before you came to Italy?
Not before I came to Italy, but our listeners may be familiar with it, as last year we were talking about how Zlatan had decided to host it, right? So we talked about it briefly last year. I think it's something that's quite cute. It's quite like cheesy and over the top, but it's very Italian and everybody watches it. And I think it's not my kind of thing, but kind of like Eurovision. It's not designed for me, but I get how people are into it. But also, I watched it last night, and the music in general was pretty terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people argue, including Reed's wife, who of course is Italian. They argue that it's a big Italian tradition, and it brings all of Italy together. But the sound of the music, it's so mainstream. It's like a bunch of pop music. There is no.
But it has to be. It's a mainstream show. It's prime time, like on Rai Uno, right? It can't be like alternative trap and like. It can't
No. At least no. I think it would be cuter if it was, regional Italian music, and every region kind of brings like their sound to the stage.
But I like that idea, but I'm going to skip Napoli's entry, if that's okay. I'm going to skip the Neapolitan entry.
I'm actually getting quite into Neapolitan funky music. Napoli is pretty big with funky music. It all started with the great and the late Pino Daniele. What up, bud? Who is a symbol to the city of Naples, passed away a few years ago. But the thing that I wanted to say is the way, what I can't stand is the way the Italian media talk about Sanremo. Right. And who would have ever imagined that this deadly pandemic that we're going through could be stopped only by two things: the election of the president of the Italian Republic, which the Italian people have no saying in, and then the Sanremo Festival. If you look at the Italian newspapers, there is no other news than Sanremo, the president of the Republic, the elections, which is an 85-year-old man who already did a mandate.
Yeah, it's the same guy, by the way, guys. It's the same guy.
This guy is going to die while serving as the president of the Italian Republic just because they couldn't figure out another one to elect.
And it feels quite Roman, that, though. It feels like, Julius Caesar. It feels quite, like, traditional, right?
And then just the Sanremo, people, it's everywhere. You walk in class, we're teachers, you walk in class and it's just like, hey teacher, hey prof, did you watch Sanremo last night? No, I couldn't care less. And then you go online with your older students, 40-year-olds, people who work in finance, and they're like, did you watch Sanremo last night? No, I could not give a single
Maybe you're
fuck.
missing out, Tommy. Maybe you're missing out. It seems like everybody else is into it.
Yeah, I don't know. And my students are starting to think that I'm a party pooper. I told them that I don't like Christmas. Now that I don't like Sanremo, I don't know what they think about me anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to go on this little rant for our friend Reed from Minneapolis. But of course, this is also the penultimate episode of our AFCON coverage. Of course, we are going to live stream the final Senegal-Egypt on Sunday night. And then Rory, I'm telling you this right now. I think that on Monday night, we should give out awards for the AFCON. Best goalkeeper, best forward, best player overall. What do you think?
I like it. We can do a bit of an admin meeting on air. I was thinking of compiling a kind of best moments of the competition and stuff as well. So there you go, guys. A little peek behind the curtain. This is as organized as we are. But yeah, Monday we can do that. Definitely. I think that's a good idea. Another
sneak peek. I think we should give the award to the worst penalty shot during the AFCON. And last night, there were at least two contenders, one especially.
They were pretty terrible. Mohamed Salah didn't even get a chance to take his. Again, proving my thing about I don't like him waiting for the fifth penalty. Get in there, get it done early.
And also, just before we jump on our blimp to cross the Mediterranean and land in Yaoundé in Cameroon, I just wanted to say that with a strong Inter bias, I am so happy that the final is going to be Sadio Mane against Mohamed Salah. Yes, let's go. These two guys are going to come back to England with no muscular power on their legs, hopefully.
I think, we'll get into it again, but Egypt have played a lot of extra time as well. I do feel quite bad for their players in general. Last night, they looked absolutely dead. But before we get into it, I want to very quickly do a little Arsenal bit. Obviously, Aubameyang has left to go to Barcelona, which is fine. I'm quite happy that he's gone. Thank you for the memories, Oba. Great striker for 2 years, genuinely an outstanding goal record, 163 appearances, I want to say 92 goals, 23 assists. Unbelievable for 2 years, dog shit for the last two. And now, obviously, he's sniping at Arteta and saying he was the problem. I don't know. I think a player that's fallen out with people at every club he's played at, maybe he's the problem and not the manager. But I just want to say thank you to Oba. Best of luck in Barcelona. He's probably going to score a hat-trick of goals, make us look foolish now. But ultimately, I'm pretty happy that he's gone. We can move on. Gabriel Martinelli up front. Let's go.
Let's jump on the blimp, Rory. It's time to cover the AFCON semis. Is it inflated?
It's ready.
Let's go.
And here we are finally now, Tommy, we can start talking about the AFCON semi-finals. We are in Yaoundé, and they were two very different semi-finals. One I enjoyed, and one I didn't enjoy as much. Which one do you want to start with, the enjoyable one or the not enjoyable one?
Let's start in chronological order with the enjoyable one. The funny thing
good.
The funny thing about the semi-final is that I got to watch only the first half, in which there were no goals scored, and then next thing you know, in the second half, they managed to put 4 in the back of the net in 45 minutes. I feel like the overall feeling is that the stronger team won at the end. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this was like as we were talking about with Senegal, like they were scoring 1 goal, then they scored 2 goals, then they scored 3 goals, and we could just see them kind of slowly warming up and improving. Burkina Faso, this just felt like this was like one step too far. This felt like the end of their tournament, and ultimately it was. The game was a bit mad. It was very hectic. It was played at a very high pace, especially in the first half. No red cards. Especially in the first half, there was a bit of mad goalkeeping from Kofi, who has been overall a very good keeper for Burkina Faso throughout the tournament. He came out and absolutely clattered one of the Senegalese strikers. Really, really bad goalkeeping. It took a long time to check the player was okay. Then ultimately, the goalkeeper was taken off injured. Originally, a penalty was given. Now, I don't know if you saw this decision, but I think the referee did really well, because at first
it was an elbow.
Well, the keeper came out to punch the ball, right? And at first, it looked like he got nowhere near the ball and just took the defender. He did just get the ball. He got the ball second, but he did get the ball, as well as nearly killing the striker even, sorry. But I think the ref did really well to overturn the VAR decision. I think overall, the ref had quite a good game. He was the referee in one of the games that had a mad amount of red cards. The game escapes me now, where he was a bit scattergun with it. You know, the game where there was 16 yellow cards? I think that was him.
Yeah.
But this game, he was a bit calmer. I think his decisions were a lot better. But ultimately, the penalty was overturned. Kofi was taken off injured. And then, as you said, the second half was where it all kicked off.
And there was another, I feel like there was another penalty call from Senegal, but the Burkina Faso defender touched it with his elbow. And so also in that case, very good refereeing, in my opinion.
No, exactly. Yeah. I think it hit the back of his arm, didn't it? And it was like, but his arm was against his body. There was nothing he could do about it. Yeah, it's very good again. And then Senegal, just with a quick 1-2, looked like they'd taken the game away from Burkina Faso, actually. But the first goal, I don't know if you clocked this, the assist was an overhead kick from Koulibaly.
Yeah, and also the control from the goal scorer, Diallo, was very good. I mean, he kind of like stopped the ball midair and then just like slammed it in the net. But yeah, Koulibaly almost scoring a bicycle kick goal. I think that the game was lost by Burkina Faso's defense, because if you look at all of the Senegal goals, there is something to be said about the Burkina Faso defenders, especially in the second one. They just gave the ball away.
Well, I was looking at the statistics. It was saying that Burkina Faso lost possession in their own half 31 times and in central midfield 44 times. Now, compared to Senegal, they lost it 24 times in their own half and 36 in midfield. But the problem was that Senegal managed to turn these into creating chances. Like Senegal had 18 shots. Burkina Faso only managed to get 10. And I feel like, Burkina Faso just kept shooting themselves in the foot. And in that second goal especially. But the work from Mane is outstanding for him to just keep hassling that defender, keep hassling, knowing that he's going to slip up. Just puts the ball across for the player to knock in. It's 2-0. It looks like it's game over. But then Burkina Faso, we have been impressed with them throughout the tournament. And Blati Touré with actually a really nice finish, like from kind of the edge of the area.
But I feel like he touched it with his knee. I feel like the touch came off his knee. I just rewatched it.
Oh, really? I thought he just hit it. Like
No. I feel like it was a pretty lucky goal. I mean, he has a beautiful run inside the box, but then he kind of like just accidentally touches it with his knee. And
okay, I'll have to take another look at it. Yeah.
Nothing to do for Edouard Mendy, who's been a very good goalkeeper throughout the tournament. Let's remember, this is only the second goal that Senegal have conceded throughout the tournament. And I am especially happy for the swaggiest manager in world football, Aliou Cissé. You caught the drip this time. I saw there was something on Twitter going on, right?
Yeah, that full white tracksuit with a matching mask. The guy looked stressed. Like he's been, despite Senegal, like we've said, they've been quite slow in the tournament, but they are improving. He's under quite a lot of pressure. After they lost the final last time, there was word that if they didn't reach the final or if they don't win, he could lose his job. And you could see him a little bit. He was like, the pressure was getting to him. When Senegal did score that first goal, he didn't even really celebrate. He just turned around and kind of looked really relieved. But he looked cool throughout. He did look incredibly cool. Those dreadlocks just look sick as well. I've got a lot of time for that.
One thing that I want to say is that if Senegal do win the final, Aliou Cissé is going down in Senegalese history for good. He was in the side, in the Korea 2002 side that defeated France, the world champions at the time, in the opening game of the tournament. And right now he could be the leader to take Senegal all the way to their first ever AFCON title, which would be sick. But if we don't have anything else to say about this game...
Oh, we do. Sadio Mane's beautiful goal at the end.
Oh, yeah,
we can't leave out... So it was 2-1. The game, it looked like Burkina Faso were back in it. And then Senegal beat Burkina Faso at their own game, caught them on the break. What we've seen the Burkinabe do so many times, catch teams on the break. Senegal managed to do it, and the chip from Mane is absolutely delicious. And this is a player, again, that I think is kind of growing into the tournament. And we'll get into it in the final. But between him and Salah across this tournament, I've been much more impressed by Mane. And I think Mane has had much more of an impact than Salah has. So I think that's quite an interesting moment there. So that means Mane scored in the last 3 games for Senegal, last 2 games for Senegal, I want to say. So he's really kind of been key for them. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful goal. But it did ultimately mean that the game was over. Burkina Faso are out. But I don't think it will be the last we will see of them. I think we could see them qualify for a World Cup soon with this generation of players. I think they really do have a great squad there. Again, only getting better, only getting into their prime. I think we could see them at maybe not Qatar, but where's the one after that? Mexico and Canada? Is it that one? I can't remember.
Mexico, United States,
and
Canada. It's 2 goals in the last 3 games for Sané, 3 in the tournament overall. And he's going to be facing his Liverpool teammate, Mohamed Salah, in the final. A much different game, this one. We were kind of chatting last night on WhatsApp as the game was unfolding. It kind of started as a pretty exciting game, and then it just was, the players looked pretty dead by the time overtime came around. But let's go step by step. What did you think of the first half?
I think the first half was really interesting. Is that the right word? I don't know. It was one-way traffic, really. Senegal were absolutely dominating it. Egypt only really had one or...
Cameroon, Rory. I know.
Damn it, I've done it again. Cameroon, I've done it again, listeners. Every time. I told you, this is a genuine problem, right? Cameroon absolutely dominated the first half. I had quite a few chances. Maybe should have scored 1. Egypt really weren't offering much. And there wasn't really, most of the drama was just on the sideline with Carlos Queiroz, who had decided to just lose his mind for 90 minutes. And it's something that he's been doing throughout the tournament, really. He's just like remonstrating on the sideline and kind of making a bit of a scene of himself. And I was thinking about why he might be doing this. And I think that he could be under pressure in his job, and he wants to show that he's like, look at, this is how much I care. This is how much I'm doing. And I think it just seems a little bit much. In the second half, he would ultimately be sent off, as would his coach, in what was all pretty embarrassing scenes. He was claiming that a Cameroon player had punched one of the Egyptian players. That definitely hadn't happened. Like, it was really, really weird. So most of the drama was on the sideline. But in the second half, I feel like it started really well. The second half, it was like 2 teams trying to play football, both trying to get the win. Then as the game went on, they both kind of went, oh, okay, let's just take penalties. And it got really, really cagey towards the end. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. One thing that you made me notice that I really appreciated, once again with a very strong Inter bias, is the performance by Onana. He didn't start the tournament in great shape. I was a little worried with that first game. Sorry for the noise in the background. It's my cat. It's going a bit mad. He didn't start the tournament very well, but yesterday he actually had a few good saves and also great distribution with his feet throughout the entire game. It was kind of difficult until the end to know who was going to win this game. And Egypt, towards the very end, they went close a few times. I really like that play by Salah, who just dribbled past a few defenders on the right wing. And then he just looks in the middle. There are 10 Egyptian players in the box. He just hammers the ball in, and they all manage to miss it, to be beyond the line of the ball. And there you really see the despair in the Egyptian bench. But I think that the highlight of the game is the Cameroonian penalties.
Well, before we get there, I wanted to focus on 2 players. So there was 2 players that kind of had almost a war of words before the game. So Abubakar was asked about Salah, and he said, Salah doesn't really impress me. I'm an honest guy. If he'd impress me, I'd tell you, but I don't think he impresses me. Now, it was quite interesting. A lot of people were like, oh, what is Salah going to do? Well, he didn't do a lot. I was looking at his game. 8 of his 22 passes were off target. He had no successful dribbles, 2 shots which were both off target, and didn't have any key passes. But then if you think Abubakar's one, he didn't have a single shot across the 90 minutes. So both the 120 minutes. So both players kind of a little bit anonymous in this game. And I think this is where Cameroon really fell apart, because they relied so much on Abubakar and Akambi. Both of them were, as I said, pretty anonymous. Akambi had 2 shots on target, I think, and they were his only 2 shots. That's where the game was lost for Cameroon. And then for Egypt, Salah again, I just don't think he's really... The semi-final, he was key. Like, he set up the goal in extra time. But I feel like this is another game where he kind of disappeared a little bit, or he wasn't able to influence it as much as he should have done. And then he didn't even take one of the penalties. So we finally get to penalties, Tommy, and tell us about what were your first impressions of the takers, how they did it, what happened?
Well, the first penalty was scored by Abubakar, who finally got a saying in the battle with Salah. And as you said, however, Salah didn't take his, so we'll never know who is the coolest one of the two. Then a beautiful penalty. Egypt, you said it while we were chatting on WhatsApp. You were like, if it goes to penalties, Egypt are going to win, because the last time around they looked perfect on it. First penalty scored by Zizzo, and then Mukudi for Cameroon, just a very weak penalty to the right of the goalkeeper, who just has to barely dive and save it. But the second one from Cameroon was absolutely awful. The one to the right of the goalkeeper, off the top of my head, I've rarely seen a penalty go that far out to the side of the goal. What do you think?
It was a terrible one. It was the third one, right? Clinton and Gia? Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
But Tommy, there's one reason why he did this. Guess which club who are famous for bottling big occasions he used to play for?
Is it Tottenham Hotspur?
It is Tottenham. He's an ex-Tottenham player. Why would you send a Tottenham player to take up a crucial penalty? Cameroon, you need to learn this lesson. That is why you've lost the game. Also, I think it's like, for a player who... He came on, I think, late on in the game, almost exclusively to take a penalty, or he came on in extra time. A two-step shuffle kind of stutter penalty is quite a ballsy move, and it really, really did not pay off. But for the Egypt keeper, now this guy, so the Egyptians have been really unlucky with their keepers. They lost their first choice. Then during this game, they nearly lost their second choice, so they were almost down to their third choice. But their second choice keeper has now... He's saved 2 penalties and made a few saves across the game that have been absolutely crucial to them. This guy has stepped up since he came into the tournament. Granted, one of the saves, the first one, really wasn't that difficult. I almost dare say that I could have saved that penalty. It was so close to the penalty, to the keeper on the right. If you pick the right side, you save that penalty, right? It was so bad. But the keeper did really, really well. And yeah, I'm glad I was right. Egypt, those 5 penalties against Ivory Coast were all so inch perfect. I was like, if they go to penalties, they're not going to lose to anyone on penalties. They were flawless.
And the video clip, I just saw it this morning on Instagram, emerged. I want to say, because it said that Sadio Mane knew at the very beginning, so I want to say that this was a clip shot at the beginning of the tournament in which Sadio Mane says, I've got two great teammates and 2 good friends in this competition, Naby Keita and Mohamed Salah. I can't play both in the final, but I want to say that I'm going to see Mohamed in the final and Senegal are going to win 1-0. So he predicted it. We'll see if he actually is better at predicting scores than the Anglo-Italian pod. But hats off to Rory, who didn't guess the exact results, but did say that the final would be Senegal against Egypt. And I did go very near the correct result for Senegal Burkina Faso. I said the 3-2, and in the end it was 3-1. Yeah,
got close. Well, the reason is I feel like Egypt, they're kind of like Real Madrid in the Champions League, right? No matter how bad Real Madrid are, or what state they're in, or who their manager is, you always think in the back of your head, they could still win the Champions League. They could still win it. You would never write them off. And I feel like Egypt in the AFCON is kind of the same thing. You're like, no matter how they're playing, what they're doing, you're like, they could still get this. They could still win it. And I would honestly not be surprised in the slightest if they win on Sunday. They've done this by scoring 4 goals in normal time. They've got, in the whole tournament, they've scored 4 goals. They've got to the final. Like, if anything, it's efficient. Like, well played. And one player I wanted to shout out, because I think he's a player who, obviously he's an Arsenal player, so I'm going to talk about El Neni. I think at Arsenal, he's not a key player at all. And I feel like people get very including myself, get frustrated with him because he's not a particularly forward-thinking player. He's not like very dynamic. But I feel like in this Egypt team, he's such an important player within that midfield. He just keeps the midfield rolling, keeps the ball rolling. His passing last night was outstanding. He was all over the park. He was everywhere. And I just feel like he's a player for Egypt that is so key and doesn't really get the plaudits he deserves. So I just wanted to give Mo a quick shout out, and not that Mo, because I feel like he's just had a really, really good game last night, and in general, a very good tournament, which makes me question if Arteta can actually get a player out of him at some point. But he was outstanding last night.
I feel like you yelled at him quite a bit in the past, didn't you?
Yeah. He passes backwards a lot. Backwards and sideways a lot, but for Egypt it seems to work. It seems to be really help them. In Arsenal, it's just frustrating. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding last night. And despite everything I've said about Mo Salah, would you really be surprised if he turned up in the final now? If you know what I mean, like he could just be waiting and then just get a hat trick on Sunday. Like you don't know. But it should be a good final. What do you think, Tommy?
I just hope it goes to overtime with my strong Inter bias. No, I think it's going to be a good final. Before the final, though, remember that tomorrow night there is going to be, on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central European time, there is going to be the final for the third and fourth spot. Burkina Faso, Cameroon at least trying to get a bronze medal. They are the hosts of the tournament. And I think they will really put all of their grit in this game. What do you think?
I have to say, one of my least favorite things about football is third, fourth place playoffs. I think they are absolutely pointless. Nobody gives a shit. The players don't give a shit. They just want to go home. They've lost. I just think I absolutely hate them.
Did they do it for the European Championship this summer?
No, but I get the feeling they did it for the World Cup in 2006 because I remember watching that Portugal-France game being like, this is not Portugal-France, Portugal-Germany, wasn't it?
Germany, yeah.
This is a complete waste of time. I think they're honestly like the most tedious things in the world.
Well, if there are medals involved at that point, there is a gold, there is a silver, and there is a bronze. So I don't know, but yeah, the excitement is not there anymore, really.
I feel like the players just don't want to be there, eh? Like, there's no player who's like, oh, third, fourth place playoff tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and then they did one for the Nations League. I was like, guys, please, third, fourth place playoff in Nations League. This has to stop.
Yeah. So on Sunday night, we are going to be covering the final, just like we did for the UEFA Champions League last year, Manchester City, Chelsea. I'm going to be backing Senegal since I have their kit. Rory has a bunch of red kits. He'll be supporting Egypt. You will have to just like create an Egyptian logo and just stick it over it.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't worry. I'm not going to go all Newcastle United and turn up with like a tea towel on my head. I will figure out something a bit more tasteful on how to support Egypt.
Rory, if you want to do it,
that's not happening.
I do have, when my sister lives in the United Arab Emirates, and for my birthday, she gifted me basically the Arab, how do you call it? I don't even know what's the name.
I don't know what the official word is, so I'm just going to say headdress.
Not only I've got the entire thing, man, the entire white.
I'm not that's lovely and it's a great gift, but I'm not doing
it. All right, this will sound terrible. It would sound like cultural appropriation big time, but I did it in the past, and it was a pretty funny Halloween costume. I dressed up for Halloween, which is also my birthday.
Don't tell me you blacked up, Tommy. Don't tell
me.
No.
I did not do that. But I put I don't know the official name. I put that red thing over my head with the headband around it.
Okay.
Then I was all dressed in white, and I had an Inter scarf, and I pretended to be an Arab who had just purchased the Inter.
Jesus.
It was a pretty good Halloween costume, I have to say. My sister, my sister gifted it for me since she lives in Abu Dhabi. But Rory, let's just go for a red kit with an Egyptian flag.
I'll figure it out.
The game is going to be on a Sunday at 8 p.m. Central European Time. You will be able to catch us on YouTube and Twitch live. Please tell your friends. We had quite a few interactions in May when we covered the Champions League final. We would love it to be the same. We're going to be online from 7:30 p.m. to kind of go through the lineups and whatnot. We're very excited about it. Senegal, Egypt. What do you expect from this final?
I don't know what to expect. I feel like both these teams have had dull games. They've both had exciting games. Their head-to-head is quite close. They've played each other 12 times. Egypt have won 6, they've drawn 2, and Senegal have won 4. They've not played since 2014 in AFCON qualifying, but Senegal won both those games twice, 2-0 and 1-0. And the last time they played in AFCON was in 2006 semi-final. Egypt won 2-1, and it was, of course, the first of their 3 in a row. So they've not played each other for a very long time. If we look at the two teams and how they've played, I think Senegal are definitely going to be the protagonists, in this game. I feel like they are going to try and they're going to be like on the front foot, whereas Egypt will just wait for their chance. But like I said, I feel like there's a certain inevitability about Egypt. But I think Senegal are going to kind of be the more proactive team. What do you think?
I just think that Senegal have got to win this game. They have come close to winning the title quite a few times. They've never won it. They are an outstanding football factory, and the fact that they still don't have an AFCON title, I think it's not fair. So I think that this time around, especially now that such a historical footballer is their manager, he's managed to take them to the final for the second time in a row. This time around, they really cannot miss, and they will put. Hopefully, they don't get overly excited and they don't expose themselves too much. But I think that Senegal are going to be the more attacking team of the two. Also, let's not forget that Egypt come from 2 straight overtimes plus penalties. That's 240 minutes of football. Salah has played all of those minutes. So I think that Senegal are definitely the fresher side in this matchup. I'm going to back Senegal, and I'm going to say that they're going to win. It's time for the wrong predictions only. I'm going to say that they're going to win this game 2-1, and they're going to be crowned African champions. Rory, wrong prediction?
I'm going to stick with Egypt. I'm going to say Egypt win on penalties. I think it's going to be full AFCON style, traditional. They win 15-14 on penalties.
Which is the average of penalties that is taken in an AFCON final. Well, the next morning I have work quite early, so hopefully it doesn't go on that long. But for the sake of the Inter-Liverpool matchup, I strongly hope it goes to overtime. Yeah, man, I cannot wait for that game at the San Siro, Champions League night, round of 16. Ooh. It's starting to build up.
It's getting close.
That Champions League feeling is starting to build up. Anything to add about the AFCON, Rory?
No, I think we will leave it all to be said on Sunday.
Sunday night, guys. Remember to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. Our Instagram is at Anglo-Italian Pod. Our Twitter is at Italian Anglo Pod. Make sure we're going to repost where you can find us on Twitch and YouTube, but it's pretty much if you type the Anglo-Italian Pod, you should find us. Subscribe, and then make sure that you tune in on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Central European Time. Rory, time to inflate the blimp after this quick trip to Africa. And I think we're going to the Americas. We're going to cross the ocean right away.
This is going to take some time.
But let's do it. And all of a sudden, it got chilly. We're getting off the blimp and we are in North America. United States, you say? Wrong. We are north of the United States, specifically in Canada. Rory, I know you're very excited about this. What's going on for the Maple Leafs?
There is a power shift in North America currently happening.
We love it. We love it. We love it.
Regular listeners will know that I do have quite a lot of schadenfreude when it comes towards our American cousins, and for there to be another team that is kind of stealing their limelight and making them look quite foolish, I am enjoying it. So this started, of course, the game was in Hamilton in Canada, right? It looked bloody freezing. I had a lot of time for the goalkeeper, the Canadian goalkeeper, playing in joggers, looking like he just got out of bed. A lot of time for that. But this was the game where Canada beat the USA 2-0, and really, I thought the differences in quality were like blinding. It was insane. So Canada are this really well-coached team that make it very difficult for you to play, very difficult for you to break them down. But on the break, they are really, really dangerous. Both their goals came from the break. Kyle Larin, he's now Canada's all-time top goal scorer, got his 23rd goal for the country at the time to put the USA 1-0 up. But from that goal, I need to talk quickly about the goalkeeper for America. Now, obviously, the conditions weren't fantastic. But this keeper, Matt Turner.
Sorry, the language. The goalkeeper for the United States. America.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to upset everyone else, right?
Big continent.
For the United States, thank you, Tommy. For the United States, he's obviously signed for Arsenal this week, right? So I was like, okay, let's see what this guy's about. And the first thing I see from him is he takes a goal kick, kicks it straight to the Canadian midfielder for him to play in Kyle Larin, who puts the ball straight past him. I was like, okay, so that's who we've signed. Okay, interesting recruitment there. Now, obviously, I think the wind did have a little bit to do with it, but it was still pretty terrible goalkeeping. But nevertheless, Canada were 1-0 up. And the rest of the game, it felt like America really, USA, I'm going to have to correct myself every single time. It felt like the USA were just really slow, unimaginative, and Canada could just stand there and wait for them to tire themselves out, really. And towards the end, the USA was starting to push, starting to have a few more chances. But then, of course, Canada catch them on the break. A fantastic break from, I want to get the defender's name right. It's
I don't know. I'm going to find it. Adekugbe? No. Adekugbe? Is it him?
Adekugbe. There we go. Adekugbe. Sorry, I apologize. It was a great little bit of dribbling to get past the midfielder. 95th minute, puts it into the net, and the crowd go wild. Now, the most irritating thing, I thought there was nothing more irritating than a commentator from the United States, but the commentator from Canada was incredibly irritating. It's like he was trying to do an impersonation of a Mexican commentator, but in English. And honestly, the highlights were like 20 minutes long, and I was really sick of him by the end of it. I was like, this guy just screaming Canada for a minute is quite annoying. It doesn't quite have the same charm as like.
Did he say Spanish. Thank you and sorry at the end of every Canada? Thank you. Sorry. Canada. Thank you.
Sorry, United States. 2-0. We apologize.
But the best commentator for this game was not even in Canada. I want to say he was in Germany. Did you see Alphonso Davies absolutely fucking losing it? That was incredible. One of the most loved men in today's football, Alphonso Davies, live streaming from his apartment in Munich, I want to say. Absolutely
this is
insane.
The best thing. Canada beat the US whilst their best player was live streaming it. Their best player wasn't even playing, and they beat them 2-0. It was incredible. And I feel like I've got a pretty hot take for you here, Tommy. I'm going to say Canada are obviously going to qualify for the World Cup. They've done it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that they get out of their group in the World Cup. I'm going to say they get into the knockout rounds of the World Cup in Qatar. I think they're going to, depending on the group, obviously, but I think they will qualify for the knockout rounds. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people when they get to Qatar.
I think that if the United States, they are pretty much done with the qualification rounds. They've got to play Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. So they need a few more points to qualify. But I want to say that both Canada and the United States are going to have a good World Cup in Qatar. But yeah,
I feel Canada. Like the US are in quite a bad way. I feel like they're not getting. I was looking at the top scorers across the CONCACAF qualifying, right? So 4 of the top 5 goal scorers in the qualifying are Canadian, right? So you got Larin on 12, Jonathan David on 9, Cavallini on 5, and Davies on 5, right? The highest for the US is Ricardo Pepi on 3, and the next is Anthony Robinson on 2, who's a left back. is like they're not getting the most out of that front line. Like Pulisic, we can talk about how he's not enjoying his football in the Premier League. He's not starting. Tuchel doesn't really seem to like him. I don't know if like he needs a fresh start. I still don't really know how good Pulisic is. Like, I feel like I've seen flashes of him, but I've never been really like blown away by him of like, oh, this is this great player. I feel like they're just not getting the most out of that front line. Like McKennie scored for them in their last game, who is a player I think who gets a lot of sticking in Italy, but I don't think he's that bad. But I feel like they're not getting the most out of the talent they've got. And I know that the coach Greg Berhalter, I want to say, is getting, he's under quite a bit of pressure now because I worry about what shape they'll be in when they get to the World Cup. I think they could have a disappointing World Cup if they stay playing this way.
We shall see. But another thing that we need to talk about in North America is the game that the United States played against Honduras and won 3-0 in St. Paul, Minnesota, a place that I know quite well. And one characteristic about this place is that it gets fucking unbelievably cold in the winter. Now, I just checked it online. The average temperature in Honduras is 23 degrees throughout the year. We're talking Celsius, guys, not fucking
And it
Fahrenheit.
doesn't change. Yes, we're doing the normal temperatures, not Kelvin.
We're doing the temperature where at 0 degrees, water freezes. And at 100 degrees, water boils. Fucking simple. But the average temperature in Honduras is 23 degrees. And in St. Paul, they were playing with below 20 degrees Celsius. And the perceived temperature was even lower than that. 2 Honduran players were subbed off after the first half with symptoms of hypothermia. And I don't know, it's not like the United States is only Minnesota. They could have played in fucking Arizona or in Florida or in California. And they would have made it, more impartial, but playing with below 20 degrees. I want to say, I was watching highlights, and I feel like the American goalkeeper had that sort of quarterback pocket. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like Honduras, I want to say it's not the most equipped football federation in the world. And how do you get a hold of these things? Everybody was playing with the goalkeeper was playing. The referee was working with a face mask on.
Christ.
And at a point the Honduras goalkeeper shot the ball on his face, and just imagine it. At below 20 degrees, how heavy that ball must feel,
it's man. Like a cannonball. That's going to be horrific. But, I can still hear my PE teacher from high school going, it's not cold. If you run enough, you'll be warm. I can still hear it, even though it's minus 20. Just run more, guys. You'll be fine.
No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, especially for a goalkeeper. Imagine all the times that you're just waiting there for the ball to come your way. And I don't know, what are you doing? Jumping jacks the whole time to warm yourself up? I think that was a little bit unfair, but this leaves Canada first in the standings at 25 points, United States second at 21, Mexico third on even points with the United States at 21, and then we've got Panama at 17 and Costa Rica at 16. Nothing to do, unfortunately, for El Salvador, Jamaica, and Honduras.
Well, the promising thing for Panama is obviously they're only 4 points behind. I think they play both the USA and Mexico, so they can. There's still the opportunity there for there to be a kind of switch around. No, they play Canada and
they play
America,
Honduras, United States, and Canada.
Yeah, so there's still a chance for them to turn it around, but it does look like those top 3 will qualify. Now it's just for Canada, really. If they can qualify unbeaten, that is amazing. That would be an amazing achievement. Canada have still got to play Canada have still got to play Costa Rica, Jamaica at home, and Panama away. So they could be able to do it. Looking in great shape for Qatar. I just think this story of like the emergence of Canadian football is amazing. Like their league kind of was made professional last year, and it was like a new Canadian league created. I feel like we're seeing a new nation appear on the football map, and I'm all here for it.
Let's move with our blimp. Not sure what our blimp sounds like, but let's go to South America. And talking about incredible conditions where to play football, we are going to Bolivia, to their capital. La Paz, at 3,640 meters. That's the equivalent of the third highest mountain in Europe, which is the Große Glockner in the Alps in Austria at 3,798. Now, imagine playing football at that altitude. There is a standout name in the game that Bolivia played against Chile, and it's one of the pod's favorites. It's Alexis Sanchez.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chilean top goal scorer scored a brace in one of the most difficult stadiums to play in the world. And in the last 20 days, Alexis Sanchez scored the winning goal for Inter Milan against Juve. He scored and assisted in the remontada that Inter had against Empoli in the Coppa Italia. And then he scored 2 goals, one of which a beautiful rocket from a free kick against Bolivia to give Chile some lifeline in the South American qualifiers, which I think is one of the most unfair things in football because it's just a lot of very good teams. So Brazil and Argentina are the only undefeated teams. 12 wins and 3 draws for Brazil, 10 wins and 5 draws for Argentina. Argentina won their last game against Colombia with a goal from Lautaro Martinez. So the internationals looking very good during this break. Ecuador are third at 25 points. Uruguay are fourth at 22. And then it's Peru, fifth on 21. Chile, sixth on 19. And then Colombia at 17. Bolivia at 15. It's going to be a bit of a dogfight. And the unfortunate thing for Chile is that their next 2 games during the March international break are going to be against Brazil and Uruguay. So definitely not an easy ending for my friend, the Chileans, who started this qualification in a terrible, terrible way, losing 3 games and drawing 1. Then they won 3 in a row. A loss came against Ecuador. A draw came, another win. A loss came against Argentina, and now they've just won against Bolivia. Is it too late for the Chileans to qualify? You guys know, if you're customary listeners of the podcast, that I have a soft spot for this country that hosted me for approximately 2 months when I was going solo across South America, and I strongly hope that they can qualify. But it's going to be a dogfight between Uruguay, Peru, Chile, and Colombia. Is it only me, Rory, or there is a certain charm about Chile?
I love Chile ever since Alexis Sanchez, really. I feel like that team in 2010 World Cup or 2014, the one in Brazil, right? 2014, they were amazing. That team that they came... Now, who was it? They hit the crossbar against Brazil in the extra time. I want to say they came so close to knocking them out.
Was it Vargas?
Yeah, maybe it was Vargas, or was it Santa Cruz? No, wait, Santa Cruz was Paraguayan, right? Yeah, maybe it was Vargas. But I feel like that 2014 team were amazing. Ever since Chile have had a really, really good generation, like Vidal, Sanchez, etc. I think, like you said, the CONMEBOL qualifying is like crazy competitive, and it's only like there's always going to be a big team that misses out. Like there's only 10 teams in it, right? There's always going to be a big team that misses out. Uruguay have done really well because they looked like they were in trouble, but they sacked Oscar Tabarez and they brought in ex-striker Diego Alonso. They've won both games since they appointed him. So it looks like they've kind of turned it around a little bit. Peru always kind of flatter to deceive. I still feel like Chile will make it, especially with Sanchez in such good form.
Peru's last 2 games are against Uruguay and Paraguay, who are penultimate in the standings. So I think there is a win there. We shall see. Ecuador has been very, very impressive. However, they have drawn their last 3 games 1-1, but one of the draws came against a Brazil side that is looking extremely in shape. Now, I don't know if you saw the 4 goals that they scored against Paraguay. Again, not the best of oppositions. They came from Rafinha, Coutinho, Anthony, and Rodrigo, but all of them were absolute jewels, as we would say in Italian.
They are looking genuinely scary. And their defense, they've only conceded 5 goals in 15 games, scoring 32. Like, this is a team that is looking in shape. And I think for once, it feels like a while since Brazil have gone into a World Cup as like genuine contenders and not kind of outsiders. If you know what I mean, I feel like the last World Cup people thought, oh, Brazil could win it because it's Brazil, but nobody really expected them to win it. I feel like in Qatar, you could be like, okay, Brazil genuinely could actually be the favourites this time.
We shall see, but it's time to take the blimp, re-inflated, and cross the ocean again. Let's go to jolly good England. Once again, we've been in Africa, Canada, United States, South America. The temperature keeps changing.
I'm tired, guys. I'm tired.
Let's go to rainy England, where we're lining up for one game in the Premier League, but especially for quite an exciting FA Cup weekend. Never forget, the oldest football competition in the world.
Now, last year, I kept forgetting the FA Cup because Arsenal got knocked out of it really early, I think. So I was like, oh, sod it. This year, I'm actually going to cover the FA Cup. And this weekend, we do have some pretty big games. It all kicks off tonight. Yes, tonight, listeners. Not tonight as you know it. Tonight as we all know it. We have Middlesbrough taking on Manchester United in what I think could be one of the biggest banana skins of the round. This kicks off at 9 o'clock Central European time. It's at Old Trafford. Middlesbrough are they're really chasing for the playoffs in the Championship, now headed by ex-Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder. He's transformed them. They're looking a lot more just a lot better, really. They've got Balogun on loan from Arsenal, so hoping he can score against United. But I think this could be one of the games to really keep an eye on again tonight at 9 o'clock. Then tomorrow, the FA Cup pissed round of the game of the round. We have Kidderminster Harriers hosting West Ham. That kicks off at 1:30. Kidderminster, of course, knocked out Reading 2-1 in the last round. West Ham will be desperate to not be one of the stories of the round. Kidderminster all the way down in the Vanarama North. So that is 4 divisions below the Premier League. Fingers crossed for an upset. Sorry, Tom. The other games of the round, we have Chelsea hosting Plymouth, League One Plymouth. Plymouth beat Birmingham 1-0 in the last round. Again, Chelsea will be looking to avoid any headlines. That is also tomorrow at 1:30. Then a game that I think isn't really going to get much attention, but I think it should. This is on Sunday at 5 o'clock. We have a bit of a Midlands derby. Nottingham Forest taking on Leicester City. These are two teams that really do not like each other. They've not played each other for quite a while, with Forest not being in the Premier League since I was a small child and Leicester being in the Premier League for quite a long time. I felt this could be a really, really proper FA Cup tie, full-blooded tackles, drama, goals. Nottingham Forest, of course, knocked out Arsenal in the last round, so they could be looking for their second scalp of the tournament. So those are the games that I think are worth keeping an eye out on this weekend, but it is all FA Cup this weekend, and in the Premier League, there is one game. It is Burnley taking on Watford in a relegation six-pointer.
We kind of previewed Serie A weekend on Monday night, but I'm going to go through the games again, and then I'm going to focus on the standout one, which is the Milan Derby. It all kicks off at 3 p.m. tomorrow on Saturday with Roma taking on Genoa, and I said it, and I will say it again. I think that Roma are going to have a very good second half of the season with, I think, Maitland-Niles is also a great loan move.
Mate, he's so good. People are going to discover how good he is. I'm gutted he's not still at Arsenal, honestly.
Roma taking on Genoa, Inter, AC Milan at 6 p.m. and then at 8:45, Fiorentina, Lazio, who could also be an interesting game. New look Fiorentina without Vlahovic. Oh my God, I saw a clip. Our friend Leroy sent me a clip of Vlahovic listing his favorite artists, and it's the cheapest Italian trap music you could ever find. And he's got a voice like this. I don't know. It's a kind of a funny guy. Then on Sunday, he sounds like Gerrard a little bit.
Okay.
I will never forget the first time that I heard Gerrard speak on a microphone. And I was just like, wait, he's got that voice for real? Like one of the deadliest outside of the box shooters of all time. Kind of speaks with a pitch like this. That was
quite
pretty
a
funny.
high-pitched Scouse voice.
Yeah. Then on Sunday, we've got Atalanta-Cagliari at 12:30 p.m. Atalanta have got a lot of players out injured. We shall see what they're able to do against one of the worst teams in Serie A this season. Bologna-Empoli at 3 p.m. together with Sampdoria-Sassuolo and Venezia-Napoli. 6 p.m. on Sunday, Udinese-Torino. And at 8:45, Juventus take on Hellas Verona. And it all wraps up on Monday night with Salernitana taking on Spezia. Now, the big game, of course, is the Milan Derby. Inter Milan currently leading Serie A with 53 points. Napoli and AC Milan are trailing at 49, but the Nerazzurri have got one game in hand. Now, if Inter were to win this game, it would possibly be the end of the league.
Touch wood, Tommy. Touch all the wood you can find.
You can hear it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm touching all the wood I can find. Rory, how many wins for Inter Milan over the last 10 Serie A derbies?
Now, I think I know the number for Milan, so I'm going to try and guess the number for Inter. Oh, I don't know, 11?
No, over the past 10.
Oh, over the past 10. Sorry, right.
Over the past 10.
Oh, I think I can do my maths. 6.
Very good. 6 wins for Inter Milan, 1 for AC Milan, and the 3 draws, one of which was the last game that they played. Lautaro Martinez missing the penalty to give Inter Milan the 3 points. So, yeah, if we look at the history at the head-to-head, Inter Milan are the strongest team over the past few years. And I feel like they've kind of shown that they still are. Let's not forget that in the last 3 Serie A games, AC Milan won 1 against Venezia, lost against the Spezia in quite a clownish fashion, and drew against Juventus 0-0 in one of the most boring AC Milan-Juventus games in history. Now, Inter Milan, of course, cannot rely on the new purchase Gosens since he's out injured. I'm going to take a look at what other players will not be available. Correa for Inter Milan, and then Tomori, Kjaer, who is out for the rest of the season, and Ibrahimovic, but also Ballo, I wanted to say. Yes, because he plays for Senegal and is involved in the Africa Cup of Nations final. Now, I said it before, I'll say it again. I think that if Inter Milan get 4 points between the game against AC Milan and Napoli, the league might as well be over. I have strong feelings about this game. We've already said how much Inter have been impressive despite the departure of Antonio Conte, Achraf Hakimi, Romelu Lukaku, and let's not forget Christian Eriksen. Good luck at Brentford. But yeah, I'm feeling very confident about this game, but it's going to be a hard-fought one. Make sure you don't miss it at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday. Of course, I'm talking Central European time. And then before we say goodbye to you listeners, I just wanted to cover a little bit what has happened at the Salernitana over the transfer window, because they've appointed Walter Sabatini as their sporting director, definitely one of the best sporting directors in the game. He said, I have never been relegated ever in my career, and I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen this time around with Salernitana. Salernitana, if we look at their new lineup, there are as many as little music playing in the background, chiki, 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 chiki. There are as many as 3, 6, 8 new players in their starting lineup. So Sepe in goal, you might remember him from Lazio. Fazio in defense, you will remember him from Roma. Then we've got Draguzin on the right wing, and then at midfield, Mazzocchi, Bohinen, Ederson, and up front, Verdi and Musset. But let's not forget that there are also Ribery and Juric ready to come on from the bench.
And they signed Diego Perotti, right?
And they signed Diego Perotti. I was going to get there. What do you think about Diego Perotti without considering his awful neck tattoo?
Yeah, the possibly the worst football tattoo, I'm going to say. But if there are any Premier League fans from the 90s and they thought, did I just hear the surname Bohinen? Yes, it is the son of ex-Nottingham Forest legend Lars Bohinen. He's now signed for Senegal. For Senegal, my God, I can't get them out of my head. For Salernitana. So any 90s football fans of the Premier League, check out Lars Bohinen's son.
And however, there is no time to lose for Salernitana, because if they want to survive in Serie A after all the shambles that they've been through on and off the pitch, we already talked about their ownership problems. Well, it kicks off right away, because they got to win the game against the Spezia on Monday night. And then on Sunday, February 13th, they take on Genoa. So this is definitely a great opportunity to bag 6 points and try and peek out of the relegation zone. They are currently sitting in the last position with only 10 points out of 66 available, 53 goals conceded, and 14 scored. Let that sink in. Is that not enough numbers? 3 wins, 2 draws, and 17 losses. So if they want to survive, it kicks off right away. They need to win the game against the Spezia, and then the one against Genoa, who are also in the dogfight not to be relegated. But in case I haven't said it before, I will say it now. I feel like Genoa, for their own sake, they deserve to be relegated. Just like go to Serie B for 1 year, start off fresh, come back with a more solid team, and then have your saying in Serie A. And that's about it.
I feel like the same counts for Cagliari. But I'm going to say Salernitana stay up. I'm going to say they make some massive, great escape, and they stay up on the last day by, like, not goal difference, by what? There's no way they're changing that goal difference, but they'll stay up by like 1 point.
You've got your Salernitana kit, right?
Oh, it fit me when I was 8 years old. I don't know if it will still fit me, but I can try and squeeze it on.
Rory, anything more to add before we send off our listeners with our customary quote?
No, I think that's it. Just join us on Sunday for the AFCON final. I'm kind of sad that the AFCON's coming to an end. I've really, really enjoyed the coverage. I've genuinely enjoyed it. I think we're going to try and do it for the next AFCON. I want it to become a regular thing. I really, really enjoyed it. It should be a great final. Join us on Sunday. We promise not to be too inebriated, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I was thinking if there is any African drink, any African, I don't know. I was thinking if
we're going to have to research any suggestions, guys. Just hit us up on Twitter. I don't know any African cocktails or what traditional drinks are. I have no idea.
Definitely.
You can hear my ignorance. You can hear me trying to hide my ignorance.
But one thing we know is that definitely there are no Egyptian cocktails or Senegalese cocktails. Because also Senegal, I think the vast majority of the country is Muslim, so probably no alcoholic drinks. I don't know. I don't know about that one. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to send you off this time around with our customary quote. And this time it comes from the great Adriano. He was live on Bobo TV. Bobo TV, by the way, we should learn a thing or two from them and how they market themselves on Twitch. Because I was reading an article that says that basically all the Italian football TV shows are really suffering from the popularity of Christian Vieri's Twitch streams, alongside, of course, Cassano, Lele Adani, and Nicola Ventola. Do you remember Ventola?
I remember the name. I don't really remember much about his career.
Ventola played for a long time at Inter Milan, and he's just funny because the other three are, especially Cassano, and Lele Adani, they are not afraid to share their opinion, to say there are no strong powers controlling this show. We say whatever we want. We say the things as they are. Juventus play. It's not even football. What sport is that? And then Nicola Ventola doesn't say anything. It's just like, yes, you're right. Yeah, no, hai ragione. Vero, yes. Yeah, no, hai ragione. You're right. But the great Adriano Leite de Ribeiro came on live to discuss a few things. Ronaldo also did.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he said, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. This is the end of the episode. Inter can definitely win the Scudetto this year, and with the right commitment and passion, they can also be crowned champions of Europe. Oh, you love to hear it. Talk to you on Sunday night. We're going to be live on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you for listening, guys, and have a great weekend full of football.